So I wanted to show everybody a little script I've been working on that basically allows me to track the recipe parameters of a beer from start to finish and allows me to automate it. And so basically I'm not having to enter in temperatures and whatnot. And so I wanted to detail how I did that today. So much like the brewing parameters, it starts with a beersmith recipe importation. So we'll do that first. And we'll use this pale ale because I actually do have that in the fermenter right now. So you'll see how it tracks. So the recipe is imported. So if we come back to the brewing system, here it is. I have to click the recipe input button to get the details of the times and all that. And so that's normal, that didn't change. But what did change is now I have the options to select a fermenter. And so I have 4 different fermenters, and so we'll select FV1, which is fermenter 1. So I click the button and it doesn't look like anything happened, but if I come over to the Gar Killer, it imported the beer name and is going to import the fermentation temperature, which is based here, and the actual carbonation details and stuff for when it goes into the spund automatically. So it's a two-step process here, but all the parameters are here. So if you saw this was 66, if we go here, you'll see this is 66 now. And it didn't start yet because I didn't want on recipe importation for it to start fermenting and turn on the chiller and do all that stuff. So I have another button that's called Start Fermentation. And when I start fermentation, you'll see on screen I have some options. So Start Fermentation. So it asks which fermenter do I want to start fermentation with, and we want to start in 1. So we click 1. So now it'll actually kick on and start fermenting, just like so. So we're a little above our target and all is well, and it'll keep controlling that autonomously for as long as I want. Now let's say, as you can see here, I have a pale ale, a Helles, nothing, and nothing. Let's say it's done fermenting and we want to move it over to the spund, which is an automated spund of pressure sensor, a PRV, and carbonation based on temperature. So right now we're zeros, we have nothing going on. So when this is due to be kicked over to spund, we're going to select our spund chamber. So now I have a dialog, select my spund chamber, and let's say we want it in spund chamber 1. There's nothing in any of them, so we're going to select 1 right now. Chamber 1 selected, and it's going to ask which fermenter, because we've imported these details and they're based on the fermenters, so it needs to know which data selection to do, and so we FV1, and then it just goes back normal, which looks like nothing happened. However, if you come over to the spunding killer, you'll see that auto spund is set, we have a carbonation level set, and we have the beer name, and we have the actual chamber being controlled with the proper temperature. So now, if this was a real beer, it would be transferred based on this set pressure, which is going to vary with temp. This has an on delay because it's actually in a chest freezer. Based on the temperature and the set pressure, which is 66 degrees, is going to be in the mid-20s probably, and it's going to use this PRV to automatically blip the PRV. The PRV has a needle valve connected, so it's a small release and you can get pretty much a solid line, and it will just hold it like that till we're done. And so if we're done now. We transferred it over to spund, and it's no longer in here and no longer needs to be controlled. And then what we're going to do is we're going to clear the fermenter, and it's going to ask which one do you want cleared. We want one cleared, and it's going to disable the set points, say there's nothing left, so everything's clear. If the spund is all complete, everything was set, we're good, it's ready to be cooled and drank, we click clear spund, and it's going to ask which spund chamber to clear from, and we want chamber 1. And you'll see this will go all to disabled and nothing, and it's all cleared out, so it's ready for the next beer. And so I used to have to do all that kind of stuff manually, but I have since automated it. It's about a 700-line script with some logic in it to allow me to control it from a single point.